Picture a prince, not in luxurious attire, but rummaging through discount store racks. That's the startling reality of Prince Harry's life behind the grandeur of palace doors, a revelation that casts a shadow on the shimmering royalty we thought we knew. In his memoir, Spare, Harry unveils a poignant truth. Every year, his father, King Charles, would allot him an official clothing allowance. But here's the catch. This allowance was strictly for formal wear, suits for state dinners, ties for diplomatic meetings, ceremonial garments for royal functions. Everything was accounted for. But what about the everyday clothes? The casual jumpers, the comfortable jeans, the simple t-shirts? For these, Harry found himself at TK Maxx, a discount store. Once a year, during their annual sale, he would scour the clearance racks for slightly damaged items from brands like Gap or J.Crew. Pause for a moment and let that sink in. A prince, heir to centuries of monarchy, waiting for a sale to buy his clothes. It wasn't because he was financially strained, but because his father believed affection, even towards his own son, should have its boundaries. This wasn't just about money or clothes. It was about control. King Charles, in his regal authority, treated his son more like a subordinate than family. Every gesture was calculated, every request needed justification. The love that should have flowed freely in a family was rationed, like a scarce resource in the royal household. In the echoing silence of the palace, Harry experienced a truth that many overlook. Emotional neglect can inflict deeper wounds than poverty ever could. A prince, yet a commoner in his own home, bound by rules that extended beyond protocol. This is the hidden struggle that Harry faced, a struggle that was invisible to us but all too real for him. A prince, not in a fairy tale but in a story of control, neglect, and the quest for genuine affection. The royal halls echo with silence, a stark reminder of the emotional neglect Harry faced. These halls, grand and opulent, were a cold place for a young boy craving warmth and understanding. You see, the palace, with its centuries-old traditions and protocols, was not just a residence, but a system. A system that measured every gesture, every word spoken, every action taken. It was a world where every need had to be justified, every request scrutinized. Harry was not just a prince within these walls. He was an occupant, bound by the rules that governed the household. His father, King Charles, was not just his parent, but the sovereign who held the power to approve or disapprove, to grant or deny. He was the one who decided the worthiness of a need, the appropriateness of a request. Imagine living in a world where even the simplest of desires had to pass the test of royal scrutiny, where a young prince, despite his title and status, had to navigate through the maze of royal protocols for the smallest of things, the allowance for formal wear, the shopping at discount stores for everyday clothes. These were not just about money, these were about control, about maintaining the power dynamics within the palace walls. And Harry, in the midst of all this, was just a boy yearning for a father's affection, a child longing for love that did not come with conditions or limitations. But instead, he found himself in an environment where affection was rationed, where love was dispensed like a scarce commodity. In the vastness of the royal halls, amidst the silence that echoed with unspoken rules and unsaid words, Harry was learning a hard lesson. A lesson that many children of wealth and privilege never have to face. In the royal halls, a young prince learned a painful truth. Emotional neglect can hurt far more than poverty. It's a pain that lingers, a wound that festers. It's a coldness that even the grandeur of a palace cannot mask. One day Prince Harry made a choice to walk away. He decided to carve his own path, to step back from the royal duties that had been his life for so long. This was not a decision made lightly, nor was it an act of defiance against his heritage. No, it was a step towards self-preservation, a breaking free from the gilded cage that was his existence. Harry wasn't walking away from royalty, he was walking away from a system that equated love with duty, that measured affection in terms of obligations fulfilled, a system that had him, a prince, waiting in line at a discount store for his everyday clothes, not because he was short of funds, but because his father believed that even love had to have its boundaries. He was walking away from a life where he was just a pawn in a grander scheme, where his emotions were seen as secondary to the duties he was born into, a life where his needs had to be justified, where his yearnings for warmth and affection were met with cold indifference, a life where he was not seen for who he was, but for what he represented. But breaking free was not just about stepping away. It was about stepping towards something else. Towards freedom, towards authenticity, towards a life where he could be his true self without the constraints of royal duties and expectations. A life where he could love and be loved unconditionally. A life where he could be seen, truly seen, for who he is, not for what his title dictates. And so he took that step. He stepped away from the palace, from the royal duties, from the system that had defined his existence for so long. He stepped away from a life where he was unseen, unappreciated. He stepped towards freedom, towards authenticity, towards a life where he could just be Harry. He stepped away from a life where he was unseen, unappreciated. Every journey brings lessons, and Harry's was no different. Navigating the tumultuous waters of royal life, Harry discovered that emotional neglect could be as bitter as the coldest winter. It was not the grandeur of the palace or the riches of his birthright that mattered. It was the warmth of affection, the comfort of being seen and acknowledged for who he truly was, that was sorely missing. His father, King Charles, may have provided him with a royal title and an official clothing allowance, but he failed to offer Harry the one thing that every child longs for: unconditional love. Instead, Harry was treated as a cog in the royal machine, his needs measured and weighed against a rigid standard of royal propriety. Yet, it was through these experiences that Harry learned the true value of self-worth. It was not found in the opulence of his surroundings or the prestige of his title, but in the acknowledgement of his own feelings and desires. He discovered that his worth was not determined by his father's approval or the expectations of the monarchy, but by his own sense of self. He realized that love should not be earned, but freely given. It shouldn't come with conditions or limitations, nor should it be used as a tool for control. It should be a balm for the soul, a source of comfort and strength. In the silence of those royal halls, Harry learned that being seen, being acknowledged, being loved for who he truly was far more important than any royal title or privilege. He understood that emotional neglect can leave scars deeper than any physical wound, and that it is far more heartbreaking to grow up unseen, unacknowledged, than to grow up in poverty. From his royal journey, Harry learned that true heartbreak is not poverty, but growing up unseen. It's a lesson that he carries with him, a reminder of the importance of emotional connection and the power of self-worth. And it is a lesson that he is determined to pass on to his own children, ensuring that they never feel the sting of emotional neglect that he once did. From his royal journey, Harry learned that true heartbreak is not poverty, but growing up unseen. As Harry steps into the future, he carries his past with him. He strides forward, not with bitterness, but with a resolve that his past will not define his future. His experiences, although tinged with sadness, have shaped him into a man steadfast in his pursuit of a life where love is freely given, not earned. Harry's plans for the future are as bold as his spirit. He aims to redefine what it means to be a royal, to be a man, to be a father. His dedication to creating a life where love is not rationed or conditional, but rather abundant and unconditional, is at the forefront of his ambitions. He's not just building a life for himself, he's crafting a legacy for his children, a world where they will never have to question their worth or their father's love. He is committed to using his influence to shine a light on the often overlooked issue of emotional neglect, to start conversations that can lead to change. His past experiences, as painful as they were, have given him a unique perspective, an understanding of the silent struggle many endure. He hopes to turn his personal pain into a catalyst for global understanding and empathy. Harry's journey is not just about personal growth, it's about societal change. It's about challenging old norms and creating new ones. It's about breaking free from the confines of tradition and forging a path that's built on love, respect, and understanding. His past may have been shaped by the cold walls of a palace, but his future will be defined by the warmth of his heart and the strength of his resolve. In the end, Harry's journey is far from over. Each step forward is a step towards a future that he is actively creating, a future where love is a given, not a reward. Harry's journey is a testament to resilience, a reminder that sometimes the real heartbreak isn't growing up poor, it's growing up unseen,